Speaking to Canvey Island manager Brad Wellmen following today's 0-0 draw against Wingate Finchley. Brad, typical end of the season game, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. We tried to sort of make sure that we tried to keep it as sort of lively as we could, and I think there was a couple of tackles in there that looked like it was a little bit lively, but it was just sort of like a dead rubber game, And I think over the course of the game we probably edged it as a team and probably deserved a little bit more, and it was. It was the pitch was nice. We was able to get the ball down and play a little bit and create a few opportunities. And I think that when I look at a few of the patterns that come about late in the game, I think the one where we went into Denham, he set Daz at the post. All that was really, really good. Do you know what I mean? So I'm really pleased with the way it ended. Obviously, I'd like to have finished with a win, but it is what it is.
A couple of exciting moments though. Sammy not coming on in injury time. Is that the answer next season? We're going to see it more often?
Yeah. To be fair, we've been the last 48 hours. We've just been bogged down with a few little niggly injuries, and then Elliot Johnson pulled out the warm up, and we've got young Billy Furman on the bench, just come back from an ACL, and Denham, and we had to put Notty on there, and it was. When Jim went down, I was questioning whether Sam had actually paid him some money to go down, but we had to put him on. And listen, the one thing is interesting is that when he went on, I don't think the ball come out the attacking third of the pitch, because he's going to have the communication and that, and it was it was a few exciting moments, and I think we was willing him to go and get that winner for us, but never materialised. But listen, it's that just shows you this is the end of the season that we've had to do something like that, and he probably shouldn't be playing, but it's what it is, and we had to see the game out.
One man that we do need to talk about is Connor Hubble. Comes on for his 200th appearance. How important, how impressive is it at this level to show that sort of loyalty and his service to the club?
Yeah, massively. We spoke before the game about those boys that have been on the journey with us from our first game against Bury, and that seems ages, or 4 years ago, and when we won 5-1, and then we spoke about Hubble then sort of having 200 appearances, and when we was talking in the last sort of 10 days about the lead up to it with him running the marathon, and how important it was that once we were safe that the marathon kind of took his focus because he's running it for charity, and we spoke a lot about that, and then it sort of come to light that this would be his 200th game if he made some sort of appearance. So we kind of agreed that we'd give him sort of 8 to 10 minutes off the bench, and you saw when he come off anyway, when he come on, what he brings to us, a couple of free kicks that he's put into dangerous areas, corners and set pieces, which has been his forte. But I think before the game, when we were talking to the players, we had I think we've got 8 or 9 players that have been with me since we started this journey, and I think that alone in non-league is a tremendous attribute for them to stay loyal and together and have that character. And I think that along that journey, I think it helps that we obviously got promoted and then got into the playoffs, and then we've won the Senior Cup this year, and I think that's kept a lot of the group together. But listen, they're a special group. We knew that from day one when me and Benno were putting them together, and it's just fitting that Hubs has got 200, and I think that there's probably not too many others far from him.
How do you sum up a season where on one hand we're the champions of Essex, and on the other hand we were, for a large part of it, in a relegation battle? How do you sort of sum that up? How do you summarise it? Where do you think it's gone wrong? Where do you think it's gone right in places?
I think from a personal standpoint, it's success. We've won the cup. So players, managers, we're always about successful moments and embrace them. There's many highs in football and there's many lows, and I think that we've had that this year, but the fact that we had that Senior Cup run allowed us to sort of keep kicking and keep ticking over, and I think we picked up a couple of important results during that time to get us where we needed to be in the league. I think that when you look at the league, is that what is to answer that question is sort of almost with another question is what is our expectations as a club? I mean, I look at some of the budgets at this league, and I look at what I'm having to deal with personally, and I think we're almost punching above our weight at times. So it's a relegation fight and a Senior Cup win. As a management group that know what we've been through and what we go through, I say success. As a fan base, it's not success, but I think that we need to really find out what ambition and direction the club want to go in, because I know personally I'm not someone that wants to fight relegation every year. I know the players don't, I know my management team don't, and the club have got to really get that structure right and that pathway right to see where we go. And you know, when I come in, we spoke about a community feel and all in community, and I think at times we've had that. And when we have had that, we've been hugely successful with the playoff runs, the promotion. And I feel we've lost that a little bit this year. And I think that mentality needs to get back to where it was to allow the club to continue, because it's a big club on paper. It's got the best fans, I feel, in non-league. But when we collaborate together, we're a real difficult juggernaut to overcome, even despite the financial situations. So I think that I've kind of gone on a tangent a little bit, but yeah, for me, it's successful because of winning the cup, and because we've stayed in the division and the challenges we know. But I think from the outside, from the supporters, it's probably a little bit of a hit and miss season.
You touched on the supporters, a little bit of turbulence off the pitch this season, a little bit of unrest. What do you say to those supporters that have, despite that, stuck with us, and what can you say to them going into 25-26?
Firstly, I think for me personally, it's thank you, because they've always been behind us, and always every game we come out, home and away, they're singing my name, they're singing Sammy's name, they stick with us. There's the hardcore group that are together, and I think that they've, when you look back to the last few years where we've got in the playoffs, they were a massive, massive part of that. The noise they make, and even this year, when I see the rallying calls on social media about, get behind the team, they've done that in the big games, and I think that it's important that as fans you stick with the club and keep supporting them through thick and thin, regardless of what's happening in the sort of with the club side of things. But I think also, if you're not unhappy, go and seek clarity, go and speak to people, go and find out what the issues are, and see if you can offer to help and to change that sort of mindset. We made it perfectly clear that the sort of protest midway through the season didn't help us for whatever reason. But I'm not saying the fans are wrong. I'm just saying that there's other ways you need to do it. So I think the fans in non-league, as you know, Si, are a massive part of any football club, and they drive the football club. And without the fans, the football club's not much at all. So they need to stay positive, stay behind, stay a collective group, and get behind and continue to push the club forward.
Nice one. Thank you, Brad. Thank you for this season, and enjoy the break.
Cheers, pal. Thank you.